Hello there, my friends, and welcome. It's Thanksgiving morning, and I just wanted to take a moment to drop in here prior to presenting a special episode of Time Signatures to say thank you. Thank you for supporting, following, watching, and listening. Thank you to the more than 17,000 subscribers we have amassed since the beginning of 2025. Thank you to our many guests, many of whom have become friends. Thank you to those we have built a reverse sponsorship with. What exactly is a reverse sponsorship, you ask? These are nonprofit organizations that do great things across these United States, and organizations that represent underserved groups, too. Groups like Joe Bonamassa's Keeping the Blues Alive, Stephen Salter's Killer Blues Headstone Project, the Just Blues Foundation, the Blues Foundation, and the others are vital to our genre. I believe in these organizations fully, so at the conclusion of each episode, I tell you a bit about one of them. It's my way of giving back until I can do more. With today's episode, I would like to tell you about Footprints of Michigan, our newest addition to the reverse sponsorship we have here on the program. This Lansing-based organization started in 2014 by Geronimo Lerma. He was inspired to do something after seeing a young man with shoes that were tattered and falling apart. That day, he helped provide the man with a newer pair of shoes, and that developed into a passion Geronimo simply cannot quench. There's a lot more to this story, but I'm going to let him tell you about it in a few moments. I am pleased and honored to welcome Footprints of Michigan to the Time Signatures backdrop. It is my hope that we can help Geronimo raise needed funds as well as to collect gently worn shoes so that he can empower those who are in need by providing warmth and dignity with footwear across the state of Michigan. Welcome, Footprints of Michigan. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you, and now enjoy this very special edition of Time Signatures with Jim Ervin.
This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
Driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
Well, hello there, and thank you so much, Parker. I'm Jim Ervin, and this is Time Signatures. Normally, we interview musicians here on the program, but I have to introduce you all to a man I now consider a friend today. Geronimo Lerma is the founder and executive director of footprintsofmichigan.org, a registered charitable 501c3 organization, and their mission is to empower those who are in need by providing warmth and dignity with footwear. I met this man last year, I believe, and I have watched him take his passion and do amazing things with it. Let's get him in here, shall we? Geronimo Lerma, welcome to Time Signatures, my friend. It looks like you've been a busy man.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. It's definitely been busy, especially coming with the winter months coming ahead of us.
Oh, yeah. So let's dive in because we've got a lot to talk about here today, and this is your time to shine. Where and when did Footprints of Michigan begin, and why?
Well, it started in 2014. I had went with another organization in downtown Lansing to do a street walk, which is basically we go down through the river trails. We look for those that are unhoused. We help them out. Well, there was particularly this individual. He's like 15 or 16. And he was a teenager. His shoes were just all torn up, duct tape, the whole works. And it was sad to see. So there was a lady that called her husband that had the same size shoe he did. So within 2 hours, we did the whole river trail, came back to where we started. Her husband had dropped the shoes off. And, just seeing his face, put on the shoes and get rid of the other ones, throw them in the Granger. It really hit home. And my mind started turning right there. And, I'm like, there's a lot of great organizations that help out with different services, but there's nothing specific for footwear, just footwear, no clothing, So then, it was just in the back of my mind. I wasn't really going to do anything with it. And then like with my parents is a lot of the inspiration. My dad, both of them passed away. My dad passed in 2009. He was a double leg amputee. And he never let it stop him. He always, put his legs on. He was on the move. And he always told me, you take care of your feet because they help you get through your journey in life a lot easier. So all this is like snowballing. And fortunately, in 2015, the last year of my mom's life, she was on dialysis. It runs in the family, renal family. That's where I get it from. Um, and I moved in with her to take care of her. And doing the dishes, I noticed the curtains. And like we've had these curtains since we were kids. You just don't pay attention when you're younger than that. And
Right.
it was the footprints in the poem sand, the footprints in the sand poem all throughout the curtain. And right there, the head just clicked. It was like Footprints of Michigan. And then I'm like, okay. And then my good buddy Brandon Armstrong, he has his business is neatgraphicsfast.com. He created this design from scratch. Like we were there in his office less than 2 hours. I'm just sitting back watching him put this together, and I'm like, wow, like literally unbelievable. And then it just launched. Like he put it out because he loved the logo so much. Everybody's asking like, what is that? What is that? And then from there it just started. And then it started in my parent in the attic. And then from there it went to a storage unit, small storage unit, to a bigger unit, to a small warehouse, to the warehouse we're in now. And it's just we're outgrown. We're totally outgrown it. But yeah,
That
it's
is
definitely been a journey.
that is so cool. Now,
Yeah.
for those watching, I've done my due diligence and I can attest to the fact that Footprints is in fact a registered 501c3
Yes.
here in Michigan. And I love that all of your information is right out there on Front Street. So that
Mhm.
gives potential donors a measure of comfort, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Like I said, we take pride in all our sponsors, all our donors that give us the funding, whether it's $5 or 500 or 5,000. We take real pride in all of them. And there's nobody that's paid on our staff. We're all volunteers, even me. And some people were like, "Well, how do you do it?" And I just, it's a whole cycle. I'm real spiritual, so I look at it as, it's just the way it is. Like I quit my job in 2018. I was working for Bridgewater Interiors, 13 years, good money, and then something just clicked, you got to pick one or the other. And I picked doing footprints. And a lot of people are like, you're stupid, you're dumb. Why are you giving up this good job? And it's just something in me. So I lived off of my 401 for about 2.5 years. And then what a lot of people didn't know either is right after that, I had moved into my office. I lived in my office for 3 years.
Oh,
Sleeping on the
wow.
couch, sleeping on the couch for 3 years. Nobody knew. Only like a slight handful of friends knew, and a lot of them reached out. My own sister reached out and said, "No, you come and stay with me." I said, "No, I got to do this my way. I got to do it this way. This is the way it's supposed to go." And yeah, like I said, everything happens for a reason. Unfortunately, in 21, I caught COVID. Um, my kidneys ended up going out. So now I'm on dialysis for 5 hours a day,
Mm.
3 times a week. And, it still hasn't stopped me. But again, going back to the whole situation where everything falls into place, was it 21, right after I caught COVID and I was out of the hospital, and that Christmas, there was a gentleman out of Okemos that was helping people out. And it was on the news. It was all over the news here in Lansing. And he gave me $5,000. He was like, "This is for you. This is not for the organization. This is for you." And then he put me in a
Wow.
hotel up for 2.5 weeks at Okemos. He said, "I don't want you spending the holidays in your office, And that kind of boosted me over the edge till the new year. But then we got a visit from the fire marshal because they seen the
Mm.
story and they're like, you can't stay here. It's not a residential. And I'm like, I understand. I was like, I'll figure something out. And then, like I said, everything just snowballing. I had a good friend do my disability papers because once you're on kidney failure, you're automatic, it's Social Security disability.
Right, right.
So that's how I live. Like, I'm not living fancy. I'm not living, as long as I got enough to pay my bills and put a roof over my head, I'm happy. I'm content, you know.
There you go.
My truck went out. I've already been through 3 vehicles doing this footprints because we use my vehicle to drive everywhere. And the good people at Feldman, my truck went out and they really took care of me. They took care of me for the vehicle I'm in now. Like I said, we have a great partnership with them, going on 9 years. They believed in us when nobody didn't. So it really
Yeah,
helped out,
wow.
and we really stay truthful to them and faithful because you don't find that many people like that.
That's a
Yeah,
fact. Yeah.
yeah.
Now let's talk about the various programs that you developed or you're developing with Footprints. I see that
Yeah.
you have three from what I see.
Hmm.
Souls for Vets, Boots on the Ground, and Thinking Outside the Soul. And rest assured, we will have links for all of this in the information section of the episode. But do me a favor and break each of these down for me, if you would.
Okay, so the Souls for Vets started in 2016, and what that consists of, because we travel all over the state, we're just not here in mid-Michigan.
Right.
Headed to Detroit, we noticed a lot of homeless veterans in need, and then a lot of them were shoeless. Like their shoes were just ragged and torn. I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, first off, you served our country, you shouldn't be homeless, and second, you shouldn't be shoeless, let alone homeless. So it really clicked, and then the Souls for Vets, again, it popped in my head, and it just went out from there, where we provide veterans with brand new. They get brand new regardless.
Wow.
They don't get no used shoes, no anything. It's brand new, no questions asked. They just showed their DD-214 or their military ID, and we helped them out. So that program has launched tremendously, especially in the UP. And we don't even market in the UP, but we go up there. Like we were just up there in Iron Mountain. We gave about 1,000 pairs away to veterans up there in Dickinson County. And the year before that, we were in Marquette, and we did about 800 pairs there. And it's just, the word of mouth is I think, powerful, real powerful. Yeah. But that program has taken off tremendously. We just did our Veterans Day. We do a shoe giveaway to all veterans. It doesn't matter if you're unhoused or homeless. It's just a small token of appreciation to all our veterans in the military to say thank you, And we did about 350 veterans this year at the Fraternal Order of Eagles here in Lansing.
Man.
Yeah, so that has taken off tremendously. That's one of the programs I'm really, really proud of and excited for because it helps out our veterans, that are out there. And then we have the Boots on the Playground. We just launched that 5 years ago. And that was because we had a principal here in Lansing, Principal Lonzo from Willow Elementary, reach out to us and said, hey, do you have any winter boots? My students are really hurting. And it's a lower poverty school area. So then that's where the idea for Boots on the Playground came about. We're like, why don't we mimic this off of the RIF program that we used to do back in the day with school with the books? I said, why don't we get boots and we'll come in and do a whole school and fit them and give them brand new boots, take the tags off, they go home with them. It's sad to say some of these parents do return the boots if the tags are on there for the money. So we take the tags off, the kids wear the boots, they go home, they're happy, and that's taken off really good. We just raised a little over 16,000 last week with WILX Channel 10 with a telethon. And we'll be serving Lyons Elementary this year. We'll be doing the whole school. And then from there, we distribute to lower area school districts, schools around the area. We'll give them a great amount of boots to help their kids out there.
Beautiful. Now, you also have Thinking Outside the Soul. Talk about that for a minute.
Well, with the Thinking Outside the Soul is, it still has to do with the shoes, but what it is we help those that are unfortunately unhoused, that are homeless. We do meals for them. We have an Easter luncheon, and we do it's very, very nice. It's basically restaurant style. So we use a church. It's Christ Community Church downtown. Again, partnered with them for 7 years.
Wow.
They let us use their facility at no cost, their basement and that. So we have a great amount of volunteers that come in. Basically, they come in, they're seated like a restaurant. They're getting their order taken. They have a menu and everything. They get their order taken, what they want to eat, whether it's ham or turkey or whatever it may be that we have on the menu, and they get a pick. And we serve them. They don't even get up. They don't get in the soup line. They don't get in the regular line. We serve them. We get Coca-Cola. They sponsor us here in Lansing, the Reyes Coca-Cola bottling company. Bring the drinks. It's just a good time overall. We have a lot of little activities for the kids. They can paint Easter eggs and whatnot. And it's just giving back, and that's especially, they look forward to it. We do free haircuts too. I forgot that. We do haircuts. We get a lot of the barbers and stylists to come in, and they cut hair for free. But yeah, it's a wonderful thing. We do Valentine's Day, again, hosted at the same church, Christ Community Church. And we just give away love. Like, we take for granted we can go to our refrigerator every night. And whether there's some food in there or not some food, these are people that don't have that opportunity, that don't have that chance to say, hey, what am I going to eat tonight? It's basically, how am I going to eat tonight? and what am I going to eat because I don't, I don't have that storage to have a refrigerator. And thank God we have a lot of great, like the City Rescue Mission that houses and feeds as well here in Lansing.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, I love my community. Like I said, this is a great community. There's so much negativity that goes out about Lansing and that, but they don't ever see the positive. And there's so many great people in the city,
Yes.
and that's why I'm still here. Like I said, I'm born and raised, and I don't plan on going nowhere.
Right. Now these programs are all good. Don't get me wrong. They're
Yeah,
all incredible, but I love that you're doing something for our vets, man.
yeah.
How's the reception been on that front?
Oh, it's been wonderful. It's everywhere you go, the veterans come up. We've had veterans cry. We had veterans, just thank us. And a lot of it, all my uncles were military. My one uncle was in the Army for 21 years, and luckily in 18 he had passed away. But I got the opportunity to go to Texas and spend 2.5 months with him, and to hear the stories that he told me, it was unbelievable. He was a
Yeah.
Vietnam and Korean veteran, Vietnam vet, drill sergeant at that. So
Wow.
it was really good to see. But everywhere we go around this state, the veterans are very appreciative, very thankful. For some reason, if we're not there, for example, we had an event last year, and how was it? Benton Harbor,
Okay.
but our bus broke down, so we couldn't make it. A lot of the veterans were worried. They were like, "Is Geronimo okay? Are they coming down here? What's going on?" And that just shows, they care. It's more than about the shoes. It's just that we're behind it, looking out for our veterans. And I think that's what we need to do more around this country because, like I said, they sacrificed their life for us, for this country, and the way they're
Yes.
being treated is not right.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are, Geronimo, about to dive headlong into the cold months around here in the Great Lakes. And there's many folks out there who may not be able to afford warm footwear to get them through the months. But that's where you come in, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I said, I wish we had more warehouse space. That's what we're trying to do is make our facility bigger because we're really busting at the seams. Like we have no more room. We have 2 storage units we're using. It would be great to have everything under one house, under one roof. But yeah, with the winter boots, we're in stride right now of getting as many winter boots as we can out there, especially to those that are homeless, because their need is great. I've seen frostbite, toes being amputated just because they don't have the proper footwear. They're out there in the snow and the
Yes, sir.
below 2 degrees, 3 degrees, whatever it gets cold out here. They're out there. We're in our houses warm and apartments warm, but they're out there. And it's sad to say, that it's needed. It's definitely needed. So that's what we look for. Even if it's new or gently used, we'll take anything.
Yes, sir. And to be clear, you don't just offer footwear in the fall and winter months, do you?
No, we're all year round, all year
Okay.
round. Yeah, like I said, we switch our inventory because, like I said, our warehouse is not as big, so we go from summer to winter, winter to summer. Flip flop back and forth. But yeah, we cover all the bases, even to like dress shoes for those trying to get a job for job interviews, whether it's women or men. I said we have everything.
Yes, sir. Now, the reason I reached out to you initially is because you had a very successful fundraiser this past week. Rather
Mhm.
than filling in the blanks, how about if I let you do it? I want to hear you talk about it. The press media coverage was incredible. You got some great press, and 2 shifts of volunteers did the heavy lifting, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, our volunteers, I call it the heart of our soul because without them, I can't do this alone. Like there's absolutely no way. In the beginning, it started off, small, but now where we're at now, it takes a good team of volunteers, and we do have that. We have an amazing volunteer coordinator, Cheryl Garza, who gets everything in line, gets all the volunteers where they need to be, and whether we need volunteers for this day, that day, she's on it, getting the people involved. And it's a great thing to have a great team like that helps you out, and it makes a lot of things go smoother.
Right. And I wanted $16,000. Is that the biggest fundraiser in the organization's history?
No, we have the 16, but then we still count because there's still checks that come in after that. We do the telethon. There's a lot of checks that come in afterwards, so we count that. We have the Amazon wish list, which we've already picked up from the TV station around 200 pairs of
Oh,
boots.
wow.
So you got to count that. If you count that dollar wise, it's probably up there at about 19,000.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, but the most, I think it's been 20, and that was a couple years ago with the news station as well.
Okay. Now, I
Mhm.
need to turn the page for just a moment, Geronimo, because people here see a vibrant, busy man with me today, a man
Mhm.
who's already done tremendous things in and around the greater Lansing area and throughout the state of Michigan. But in addition to your fundraising and sharing with Footprints, your time is also spent being treated, as you mentioned earlier, that is to say, dialyzed, because you are an end stage kidney failure, correct?
Yes, yes, yes. Going on 4.5 years now. Um, like I said, I'm probably one of the longest patients they have in there because of my size, and it's 5 hours and 15 minutes I sit in that chair. Yeah, and I do it in the morning to get it done and over with. So I go about 5 in the morning and then get done. I'll get done by the time they hook you up about 11:30. I'm out, and then I'm just on the go. Like, and a lot of the people, especially the nurses and the techs there in the clinic, they're like, "Well, do you go home and sleep afterwards?" Because a lot of people, when you do dialysis, it wears on them. It really does,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
go home and sleep all day, and they're still amazed. Like, you don't go home. I was like, I rarely go home and sleep unless I have a headache. Other than that, I'm in the office. I'm in the office doing work, or you know, and I'm thankful for that because, like I said, a lot of people they go home and they sleep all day, and then that whole day is wasted. So,
Now, speaking of your health challenge, following your fundraiser this past week,
mhm.
someone reached out to you with a very generous offer, didn't they?
Yeah, we were all blown away. We got the message when we walked back in the studio at 3, that there was a voicemail of other people that wanted to donate. Then there was a voicemail of this gentleman who wanted to donate his kidney, and I was blown away. Like, I think every volunteer that's seen it was in tears, like everybody. And I'm starting to tear up right now thinking about it. But it was very generous. Like, you don't see that often, you
No,
know.
you don't.
And then I was lucky to talk to the guy the next day. I couldn't call him that day because I didn't even know what to say. Like, I was blown away. I didn't know what to say. So I talked to them the next day for about an hour, and just this story, what he was telling me, and then he wanted to meet me. And I said, "Well, I'm at my office now. You can go ahead and come through." And he came through, and before he hit that door, he already had tears in his eyes. Like, and he's
Man.
around, I think he's in his 40s, and we had a great conversation. And I said, "Well, what made you?" He was like, "Honestly," he said, "I've done stuff wrong in the past. I'm getting my life straight. I just got a good job working third shift, and I got home and I seen the news. I turned the news on, and it was the story about that David Andrews did about the footprints, and then about me being on dialysis." And he said, right there and then I knew, like, it hit me. Something said, "You're going to donate your kidney." And he's like, "I'm not a real spiritual guy, but something told me, that I'm gonna match. I'm gonna match for you." Like, so he's really true heartedly. His tears meant it. Like, he was serious, and when he came to our office, he was dead serious. He's like, "I'm not. I'm really serious about donating." He's like, "I'm not doing it for the glory or any of that. I don't want no acknowledgement." My family doesn't even know. He's a single guy, but my mom and dad don't even know. Like, I wanted to go through this and make sure that it goes through. And then he laughed, and I'll never forget it because he's like, "I know it's gonna match. So you better get ready because you're gonna be part Irish." So yeah, it really took me by heart. And like I told him, um, that's something we can't control whether it's a match or not. To me, it's in God's hands. I said, but like I said,
Yep.
I gained a brother, I gained a friend just by that, and it was just absolutely amazing. Like I said, I'm still stunned by it. I've had other people, say it, and you said you can talk it on the side, but when you do something like that, and then when you see them face to face, and you can read it in their eyes that they're not playing around. To see the tears in his eyes, he's serious.
Yes, sir.
That really touched my heart a lot.
I know you mentioned the piece that was on with David Andrews on TV 10, um, and it was in your warehouse, which is a small warehouse, a
Yes, it
1,000
is.
square foot space. According to what you said, 5,000 pairs of shoes that are stored there,
Yeah.
72 boxes full from a donor company. Talk
Yep.
about that donor company for just a minute, because you got some really great partners in this endeavor.
Oh yes, like I said, it's actually Playmakers out of Okemos. So what they do is they have their policy. Like I said, if you guys are out there shopping, go to Playmakers and buy shoes because they have a 30-day policy. If you don't like the footwear, they return them free of charge. They give you another pair, a different shoe or whatever. With those shoes, they don't resell them; they donate them. So we're
No kidding.
fortunate to be one of the bigger recipients of the shoes, but they have other organizations they give to, not just us, but in
Hmm.
the area as well. Like I said, they're a great company, and they care about the community because technically they don't have to do this. They could throw them away. They could recycle them and write them off and be done with it. But
Sure.
they choose to help their community out, and these are perfectly good shoes. They're brand new shoes. They're people just don't like them. They turn them back. They're like $150, $160 shoes, running shoes,
Wow,
and it's just
man.
amazing, and it's just to get all that. And I had made a call to their donation coordinator for our Veterans Day. I said, "Hey, you think we can get a couple more boxes?" And she was like, "Yeah, take what you need." And she was like, "We have 72 available. Do you like them?" I was like, "Yeah, we'll take them." So yeah, we took them, and yeah. But yeah, like I said, our warehouse it's small, but we use every square inch to the ceiling, and we have a
Yes,
12-foot
sir.
ceiling, so we got shelves on top of shelves.
Yeah, I saw the video. It was pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah,
Now, Geronimo, how else do you raise funds for the program? Do you have merchandise for sale and other items to help fill the coffers?
yeah. We have some the Footprints of Michigan T-shirts and that. We're starting to build the store back up. That we have
Okay.
different items to sell. A lot of it we partner with the VFW here in Lansing, the 6132. They let us use their facility, their kitchen facility, and we do like taco dinners or we do hamburger dinners or anything we can just to help us pay the cost to run the operation. We got rent, we have insurance, we have gas, we have all those bills that everybody else does, but it's harder for us because we're not really a business that we can make money off it and bring income in. So we have to fight for every nickel and dime, and sometimes it gets stressful. But like I said, we have a lot of great partnerships, so it helps us out. We do a fabulous rib dinner with the VFW too, usually around
Oh,
in
man.
June. Yeah, we sell that out. We do at least 40, 50 slabs of ribs, and
Wow.
yeah. So, but like I said, we're fortunate to have great people, support us, and that's what keeps us going. Because other than that, we don't technically get huge grants from federal or any of that. I think probably the largest supporter we have with that is Meyer.
Okay.
Meyer in the past 3 years, they've given around 35,000. They break it down each year because each
Sure.
year each store can give you 5,000. So we've had warehouses. The warehouses give us money. We had a store give us money. So we're fortunate that way. But yeah, like I said, it comes from everybody. That's how
I
it works.
Yeah, definitely. I have a couple of people I'm going to put you in contact with. One of them is Mike Wilson, who's the executive director at the VFW National Home out in Eaton Rapids.
Okay.
Perhaps maybe they can do something, do a fundraiser out there in the Eaton Rapids area, Eaton
Yeah.
County. Not going to make any promises, but I'll put
Oh
you in
yeah.
touch with them, and I'll make that connection for you. Now, what about other events throughout the year? Do you guys do any other fundraisers along the way? I mean, I know you talked about the rib dinner, which I'm going to put in my calendar, by the
Right.
way.
Yeah, we try to do one every quarter of the year just to have
Okay,
that funding available. So we have that for extra expenses if something happens to our bus and it breaks down, we need parts or whatnot. But we do a Souls for Vets 5K run in May, a memorial run, and that goes really well too. Is we do it. It's usually a week before Memorial Day, and we
okay,
do it at Ranger Meadows in Lansing, off of State and Wood Road out there. And we usually have around 150, 160 runners and walkers that participate, and it gets bigger each year. Like I said, and that's what's amazing. And then if you bring it down to August, we have our large golf outing. So I'm not a golfer. One of our board members, Nick, is the one that got me into this. We're going on I believe it's our 8th year of
wow,
the outing, and we started off all the way from 100 golfers. Now we're at max at like 190, 200. So it sells out quick, and it's just a great time. A lot of the people come out, they know what they're supporting. We have a silent auction, 50-50, everything. But it's just a great time overall, and to see the support from everybody, coming out to have fun and to raise money for the veterans program it's a great thing.
that's cool. That is so cool. Now, if there's someone under the sound of our voices today that can help financially by way of donating shoes or boots, how can they reach out to you?
They can reach out through the website at footprintsofmichigan.org. We do have a PayPal link on there to pay. If they don't choose to pay that way, which I know a lot of people don't, which is fine, they can mail a check. They can mail a check to our office, which is located at 3010 West St. Joseph Highway, Lansing, Michigan, 48917. Or if they want to come in and meet me and talk to me, and I'm more than welcome, to talk to people when I'm in the office and that, and they're willing to do it that way. That's fine too as well.
Yes, sir. And let me encourage anyone who has the means to do so to get involved with this program. I know there's angels out there with the financial means to make a difference, and it's my hope and prayer that one of you or two of you or 10 of you will contact Geronimo to lend a hand. I think that would be just absolutely fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And Geronimo, I would like to offer you a spot on the back wall of my podcast as well. I only would need a logo to put in place. And what I would do is I would rotate little promotions about your 501c3 with the others that I have listed, because I love giving back too. And it's kind of a reverse sponsorship. And I've been doing this now for probably a year and a half, and I've got several on the back wall, and they're all 501c3. So I'm not asking you to make a decision today. I want you to think about it.
I'll just tell you right now, definitely, yes.
Okay. Well,
definitely,
here you
yes.
go. So I want to thank you, and I want to get some more information out there. If you can, go ahead and give your contact information once again, your website, and let's see if we can partner together and do some great things. Hey?
Yeah, definitely. So again, the website is footprintsofmichigan.org. You can go on there. If you have Facebook or social media, it's Footprints of Michigan. On Facebook, you will see a lot of the photos that we do throughout the year, or the events that we do. We usually typically don't show the clients' faces unless they want the pictures taken. They sign a release form, but other than that, we never exploit their faces or anything. We just want to show that the shoes, how they're making an impact in the community and what they do to people's lives. When they have them, kind of like the picture that's behind me with the little boy. I love that picture. That was at our back to school event. And just seeing that, how one pair of shoes can change somebody's life it's remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable. Like, again, our address is 3010 West St. Joseph Highway, Lansing, Michigan, 48917. And again, we could use any help that's out there. Like I said, we're not these $1 million nonprofits that their CEO gets paid millions of dollars, because I get zero. I get $0. But the thing is, I love helping people. There's nothing better in this world, like I said, with all the negativity going on and all the racial divide and this and that, we don't care. To me, like I tell our volunteers, I don't care if you are Catholic, you're Muslim, you're Buddhist, whatever it may be. We don't look at that. We look at you as a human being. You're coming to us for help, and that's what we're here for, to help.
Yes.
So anybody that walks through that door, we help regardless. We've had a family that only spoke Arabic, and thank goodness for phones, because they translated, so we could get the kids the shoe size and what they needed exactly. And they were happy. I had put a story out on Facebook that happened last week, and it was really touching, because there was a gentleman that came in. He spoke broken English. I couldn't tell what I can't think of the name, what background he was, but we made it work, and we got his shoe size for his kids, and he was ecstatic. Like an hour later, he came back with me and a volunteer, Derek, that was here, and he brought us each a muffin, a blueberry muffin, and he was so thankful. He said, thank you, you made my family happy, and it's just little things like that. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have, it's just little things like that. Like, he didn't have to come back, but it's
right.
It's things like that happen throughout the whole years of doing this. Another story I want to share with you is
please,
there's a guy that got released out of prison. This was about 3 years ago, and he got a job at a company to do with steel toe boots. And a lot of people don't know we carry steel toes as well. Some new, some gently used, for those people trying to start over. And he came, he heard about us. We gave him the boots. He came back about 2.5 months later with a smile on his face and those same boots and said, I got hired in. And when you get hired in, they buy your boots for you.
Wow.
And it's funny because I used to work for that company years and years ago. So I know he wasn't lying. Like, and he was ecstatic. You know, he's like, I got it. And then he gave us a $25 donation. You know, it's little things like that, you know, that people appreciate. You have a few that take advantage of the system, but for the most part, the people that are grateful are, you know, it's a wonderful thing. Like, and then not to keep going on, but
you're good, man.
In August, we do a back to school event. This is actually our third year doing it. We team up with Brothers Against Drugs, which is run by Larry Johnson, which is Magic Johnson's brother. And they do backpacks and all that. We do the shoes. We've given out last year 750 pair of brand new shoes to the kids. And these are like Adidas and Nike, and, you know, to the kids here in the Lansing area.
Yeah.
And we had one individual, the family, the mom, we helped her 3 kids out. And I was at the hospital one day in Sparrow in the parking ramp. And all I hear is, hey, shoe guy. And I turn and I look, and it's the lady. She was like, you do the back to school? I'm like, yes, ma'am. And she's like, I just want to thank you. And, you know, she started having a tear in her eye. And I'm like, oh, my God, you know. So it's little things like that. You know, there's so many people that appreciate it, you know. And I think that's what makes it worth it, you know, going on. And like I tell our volunteers, you have a few that are not grateful, but it always makes up. You can have 8 of them that are not grateful, but that one person, like the kid behind that picture, it just speaks volumes.
Yeah, no kidding. And thank you for sharing the story about that photo, because I wanted to ask you about it during the interview. And of course, we just get going, and I just lost track of it. But I want to thank you, Ty, for your time today, Geronimo. I appreciate you taking time to join us today on Time Signatures. I hope that someday I can be in a place to make a difference along with you. And I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see that you're accomplishing some amazing things over the last years, and I'm excited to see what you're going to do in the future. And I also hope and pray that you get your donors sooner than later, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Like I said, it'll happen. It'll happen.
Yes, it will. Well, as we wrap up this edition of Time Signatures, I want to talk to you about an organization I'm very excited about. And this is a surprise for him because I'm doing it live. Footprints of Michigan offers footwear to those in need. From walking shoes to warm winter wear, Footprints' mission is to empower those who are in need by providing warmth and dignity with footwear. Footprints of Michigan is a registered 501c3, and they need your help to get the job done. Whether it's $5, $50, $500 or more, your donations will go to meet this organization's mission. Contact Footprints today and ask them about their Souls for Vets, Boots on the Playground, or Thinking Outside the Souls programs. Visit footprintsofmichigan.org today. And as always, thank you so much for your consideration. And that wraps up this edition of Time Signatures. Once again, my thanks to Geronimo Lerma, but also to you, for without you, none of this would be possible. Jim Ervin reminding you, keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues, one story at a time, that's my mission. Until next time, so long, everybody.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down Michigan road, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.